All right, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. I'm Jerred Moon, and today is part 4 in our hard to kill programming methodology. And this part is speed. So if you haven't been following along, this is part 4, and I've kicked off a series on programming, specifically our hard to kill programming methodology, which is a balancing act that optimizes both performance and longevity, something I think we can all agree that we want. So, hard to kill programming is going to keep you beyond prepared for any daily obstacle, also making it tougher for Father Time to knock you off. All right. And that's what I want personally. I know that's what a lot of our athletes want. You want to be ready for today at the ultimate top end of the performance that you can muster each and every single day, but you also want to live a long time. You want to see your grandkids grow up, maybe your great grandkids. You want to have both of those things. You're not just here for, an inch added to your bicep or whatever the case is. You really want to blend it all. You want to grow muscle, you want to get faster, you want to have a bigger aerobic base, and you want to live a long time. That's what the hard to kill programming methodology is all about. Today, like I said, we are covering speed here in part 4. Now, if you recall from parts 1, 2, and 3, and you can go back and listen to them if you haven't yet, that strength is a continuum. In this strength continuum, we have strength, speed, strength, and speed. We have covered all of them so far before we move away from strength in the next episode. But today we round out the strength continuum with speed. So, speed represents the ability to produce maximal velocity with little to no external resistance. So, we're getting away from all that heavy resistance that's slowing us down in the continuum, going from strength to strength, speed to speed, strength. Now that we're in speed, we're starting to shed that resistance to really most of the time when we're talking about speed, there's no resistance at all or very minimal. It sits at the far end of this strength continuum and it prioritizes pure speed over force production. So, force production typically coming from the use of a barbell or some sort of implement like a kettlebell. But now we just want speed. We want to move as fast as we possibly can. So, what are the key characteristics of speed training? Well, typically there's minimal to no load because it's really just not necessary. So, if you did have a load, it would be less than 50%. We're talking about 20, 30%, maybe 40%. And even that's getting a little too heavy for speed, but it still would be within the speed category. Most of the time, you can do just body weight, but what you're ultimately trying to do is prioritize velocity, 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 velocity. So maximal velocity is the primary goal, and it's moving as quickly as possible with perfect form. I've said it across the entire strength continuum. Perfect form is what you're ultimately going to want when you are moving anything, doing anything with fitness, but especially once you start to add speed and velocity, you really want to make sure your form is dialed in. So it is velocity dominant, speed is the focus, and then force output is secondary. So it doesn't help, if I want to give you an example, if you're like, all right, I'm going to go do 100-meter sprints to focus on my speed. And then you have this great idea. You're like, I'm going to wear, a 30-pound vest, a 40-pound vest to like really try and get better. It's like, well, yes, there's a purpose in that, and it'll help you. It will help you over time build more strength, but you're really more in the speed strength category at that point. And sometimes you just need straight speed relative to your body weight without any additional load needed. So examples would be sprinting. You could do these just a flat sprint, like in a field at a track. You could go downhill or even slightly uphill, a slight grade, but not straight uphill, because again, we're starting to get away from that pure speed that we want. But sometimes for beginner athletes or athletes who haven't done this type of training, if you want to reduce injury, a slight grade upward can help you add a little bit more resistance to where you're not going to get injured. So other things, other examples of what this looks like, high velocity plyometrics, so bounding, tuck jumps, broad jumps, those kind of things. Any ballistic movements like unloaded jumps or throws. You think about punching, punching a punching bag, things like that. Anything that you're moving your body through space, maximal force, maximal velocity, not as focused with any additional external forces applied. Ballistic movements. Ballistic is very rarely used when we're talking about training, but it is used when we're talking about speed training. So why is it beneficial? Because here's the deal. There's speed is a loaded target here, right? Like it's like a loaded category because if you have a desk job and you don't ever sprint or move fast or train any of the domains that I'm talking about, and you're like, you know what? I heard Jerred say, well, I should train some speed. I haven't been doing anything, but you know what? Today sounds like a good speed day. You're going to pull a hamstring. It happens so often. People pull a hamstring because it's hasn't been properly loaded, hasn't been used properly. So I will say that you need to ease into these things, train everything in the strength continuum, then add speed is ultimately what you want to do, but it is still beneficial. Not everybody's gonna pull a hamstring, but again, you need to work up to being able to sprint and move at these ballistic speeds. You're gonna have to earn it. So why it's beneficial? You enhance raw speed and quickness, which is critical for reacting and moving in daily life or sports. It improves your fast twitch muscle fiber activation and coordination, and it keeps workouts just fun, to challenge the nervous system, and it's challenging, and it's not always the suck fest that can be endurance training or strength training. To be honest, those things are awesome, but sometimes running for 40 minutes straight isn't that fun, or just lifting for an hour with low speed, strength movements can get boring over time. It's fun to just add some pure speed, jumping, plyometrics, sprinting, those kind of things. It can just be fun to add into your training. There's a ton of like physiological benefits, but psychologically, this is just fun training, in my opinion. So the big purpose of speed training: develop top end velocity, improve rapid force production. It enhances your agility and quickness, and it sharpens the nervous system and efficiency and coordination. So practical applications: if you have to run and catch a bus, if you want to run and chase your kids or your grandkids or whatever, quick movements in sports, everyday mobility, maintaining the ability to move quickly as you age. Falling down as you age becomes a bigger problem. Again, all of these areas help you reduce that, but being able to move your body fast ballistically is huge, and it's something people lose, not because you just got older, it's because you didn't train it. Don't use it, you lose it. That couldn't be more true of speed training. Once you stop sprinting, it's gone. I mean, you can bring it back, but if you stop for decades, it's not coming back easily. So it's something I recommend everyone have some sort of speed element to their training at least once a month, if not more. So I like to, in every one of these episodes, give you an easy way to think about it. Am I doing it right? Am I in doing the speed? Like, how can I think about this? And the best way I can, the best, little like tidbit I can give you is fast, no brakes. Okay. Fast, no brakes. And brakes, brakes, like brakes on a car. If you think of load as a braking system, like it brakes, it slows you down. That's what load is doing. We talked about building strength is good for low speed conditions, is good for building strength, should I say. Low speed conditions, good for building strength. Low speed conditions is not good for building speed. You want high speed conditions. So anything that's going to put the brakes on you moving fast, you're not really going to want in speed training. So fast, no brakes. Just think about moving fast. Don't think about any way that you could add resistance or slow yourself down, because you're just starting to get knocked down into the continuum further backwards towards the strength category. It's okay for sometimes just to be purely fast without having to add any resistance. So speed is about being as quick as possible. Think lightning fast with no resistance slowing you down. Now, in programming it, I'm not going to necessarily give you any barbell recommendations like, oh, do 30% of your 1 rep max, any of that. Really, this would just be moving as fast as you possibly can. So plyometric push-ups, clapping push-ups. Plate push-ups is a big one that we like to do. So like you do a push up so fast that you throw yourself into the air, and then you're basically jumping from the push up position and putting your hands on plates, and you can do that at different levels to exert more and more force. Again, this is just body moving through space as explosively as possible. Sprinting is a great one, maybe the best one. It's not only good for you to develop the speed and to maintain that speed, but also great for a hormonal response, training the central nervous system, just sprinting. It doesn't have to be long. We're not talking about 400-meter sprints. We're talking about 50, 60, 80-meter, 100-meter sprints, maybe 200 meters at the top end. And that would really only be if you're super well conditioned, because anything faster than that, we're not moving as fast as we can anymore. We're starting to slow down either because our lungs can't take it, our heart can't take it, our conditioning can't take it. We want to be moving anaerobically, just fast. We don't need the oxygen, the oxidative system to kick in. We'll get all into energy systems throughout the rest of the series, but we don't need any of that. We just want to move fast. So if that's 50 meters for you, 30 meters for you, do it. If that's 100 meters for you, do it. Again, anywhere from that 8 to 15-second range up to 20 seconds, maybe max if you are pretty fast, well conditioned athlete. And this is when we're talking about sprinting specifically. So I really think sprinting is the best way to implement this style of training. Yes, there are a ton of things that you can do with plyometrics, box jumps, broad jumps, tuck jumps, the plyometric push-ups, all of those things. Those are great ways to, again, get more explosive training into your like routine. But ultimately, you should be sprinting. You don't avoid the sprints because you're scared of the hamstring, whatever. Just sprint further, or less duration, less distance. So just start with a 20-meter sprint, 30-meter sprint. Like start really, really small if you have not been sprinting. Honestly, 10, 15 meters, just moving as fast as you can. And think about the last time that you even did that. When's the last time you sprinted as fast as you can, just 20 meters? I know it's not far, but when's the last time you did it? If it's been too long for you to remember, you definitely need to start implementing some of this, even if it's just 10-meter quick starts to get used to it. Build up very slowly in the speed part of the continuum so you don't get injured, but ultimately very important for becoming that well-rounded, hard to kill athlete. So that rounds out the strength continuum here in our hard to kill programming methodology, part 4. But remember, we have 13 parts that we're covering. This is just the strength continuum that now gets concluded. We will be moving into more programming methods that are utilized in the hard to kill programming methodology, but that'll be for the next episode. For all of our athletes who are already implementing this training because they're following Garage Gym Athlete Programming, we really appreciate each and every single one of you. If you want us, me specifically, to program speed for you at least once a month in your training, you can go to garagegymathlete.com, sign up for a free trial, and I'd love to have you. I really would. But that's it for this. And remember, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you.